If you've ever had a beer in India, or even in an Indian restaurant somewhere in the world, the chances are it was this particular brand. Here, Kingfisher is synonymous with beer. It makes up more than half of all beer sales. But in this bar, close to Kingfisher's Bangalore headquarters, there's not a sip of it being drunk. Instead, what they're enjoying here has been made even closer to home. Now, this was the first place in Bangalore to sell beer that's been brewed on the premises. It opened around 3 years ago. And to get a sense of how big the industry's become, since then, something like 15 so-called brew pubs have launched in just this one city. And this is one of them. Inspired by the owner's time in the US, it too is trying to bring the craft beer phenomenon to Bangalore. They've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's a lot of beer to sell, but are confident it'll pay off.
There's a really large young population of people in India, and they've all traveled extensively around the world, and they've been introduced to fine lifestyle products, and craft beers are one of them. People in India are yearning for that. They want a better value for their money. That's the reason why you're seeing microbreweries being extremely popular in India right now.
And the customers I spoke to here seem to agree.
If you want good beer, it's got to be imported, and that's very expensive compared to the beer that you get at microbreweries like this.
To come here and have a proper pint, as you can see, it's actually a really nice experience.
I'm not a big beer drinker to begin with, but well, the variety is what gets me. You can have a mango flavored beer, like this beer has lavender in it, and that's fun.
But for all their enthusiasm, across India, craft beer sales remain tiny. Instead, the real growth is in mass market strong beer, with alcohol content above 8%.
In the West, beer is a refreshing drink. Beer is something that people use for refreshment, especially when they're drinking at home. But in India, people view beer as a form of getting a high, and that's why you see stronger beers always performing better in Indian market. As far as microbreweries are concerned, the taste of this segment is more discerning. The taste of this segment is more evolved. So you're essentially talking about two different segments, and that's why I don't see microbrewery segment at loggerheads with a wider sort of mass segment for beer in general in India.
That's good news here on the outskirts of Mumbai, where they're milling their own malt before roasting it to use in their own brews. This is India's only microbrewery that produces beer to then sell on to bars and restaurants, where it has to compete against the well-established local and imported brands. After taking about 2 years to get permission to operate, brewing only happens a few days a week because of regular power cuts. And while early sales have been promising, the prospects are far from clear.
It's too soon to say that the image of beer is going to change so fast. We're just at the start of a new industry here. It can only get better from here. We will take some time before people start perceiving and finding the difference between good beer and bad beer. Anyone can make an alcoholic beverage. It's the easiest thing to do, but try to make a good one. That's the whole fight about.
While Bangalore dominates the brewpub scene, more are opening across India as state governments become more accommodating and the demand grows. But there's some advice for anyone thinking of giving it a try.
Brewpub owners currently work on the gimmick of it. That okay, if I have a brewery, people will come to my bar more, and try to make it as a differentiator. What they don't get is the differentiator is not the tank. The differentiator is the beer.
At bars like this one, though, that beer's going down well with customers, and they'll happily drink to the idea of more choice.